Hi, I'm James from the Paint People, and today I'm reacting to a really cool article, or series of articles, from Architectural Digest and Modsy. So I stumbled upon this whole article about not missing your chance to visit Jerry Seinfeld's apartment. And in New York, they've meticulously detailed a replica of Jerry Seinfeld's apartment. I'm not sure if any of you are Seinfeld fans, but I am. In fact, I'm a huge fan of those iconic 90s sitcoms that existed, namely Seinfeld, Frasier, and Friends. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at these iconic sitcom apartments, what they would look like if they were designed today, and then I'm going to find some paint colors for each of these so you can sort of replicate your own version of Frasier Crane or Jerry Seinfeld or Monica's apartment. Sounds fun? Let's get into it. So first we'll start with the Architectural Digest article. This is the one that sort of started this whole thing and got me thinking about this Modsy article that I'll be showing you in a second. And it's just very cool to see the apartment, how it looked like, just super iconic. It's interesting because Jerry did use a lot of grays, right? Which is still pretty popular today. But my friends over at Modsy, and I'm actually not their friend, they don't know who I am, but I really love what they did. So there's this website called blog.modsy.com, and what they did was they reimagined Jerry's apartment for the modern era. So this article was written in 2018, so it's a couple years old, but still very relevant today. And look at this. Like, how cool is that? You know, similar vibes, right? Not necessarily that punchy color of teal, but a lot of those same sort of characteristics. A lot of grays, a bit of earthiness. Not so much the brown on the walls, it's more just variations of gray, but now we have kind of taupe and brown, and a little bit of navy implemented in the furniture. And right here, it's hilarious. They say, as a neat freak and ardent germaphobe, we knew 2018 Jerry would still want a clean, crisp, comfortable space to call a home. And I think that's a big trend nowadays too, is there is the urge to sort of simplify our design and kind of go a little bit minimal, but we still want it to feel like home and crisp and cozy and all that. And this is what they exemplify really well. So you can kind of cycle through here and see all the different angles. I love this. So what I did was I tried my best to grab two paint colors that I see on the wall. As we can see, there's the chair railing on the bottom, which is a darker gray, and then sort of this off-white up top. So the two colors that I'm going to offer you for the top color, fairly close. It's called Dashing by Sherwin-Williams. It is a very light, minimal 83 LRV off-white. A little bit on the cooler side because I do feel that the colors that they're showing in this article are a little bit cooler leaning, and then the warmth comes from the floor and the furniture. So those earthy, natural woods is what brings the warmth. The paint color is more crisp and clean and sterile, kind of like Jerry. For the lower color, we have a darker variation of that same color, essentially. It's called Autonomous. Another color that is pretty much as gray as you can get. The RGB values, if you know about them, are very much balanced, nearly identical, so it's pretty much as gray as you can get. But in actuality, it does feel a bit cooler in person. So a lot of fun. Also, Elaine's take, which is kind of fun. They have Elaine's interpretation of the same space, which is a bit different than what Jerry wants. A little more color, a little more brightness, very vibrant, so fun. And then you have George's take, of course, the a little bit of a place to pose, because we all know George loves a pose. Anyway, so the next one is a little simpler, and I was actually intrigued here because Frasier Crane's apartment. When I watched Frasier as a wee boy in the 90s, I thought it was a pretty cool looking apartment, right? It felt pretty up-to-date, hip, you know, a lot of really interesting elements with some cozy, nostalgic furniture especially, right? The lazy boy chair and all that. This is what it looked like initially. This is a reminder. And here is where it is today. Pretty cool. So in this case, it doesn't look like we have any nostalgic furniture pieces that maybe, you know, his dad had in their original home. This is very much mega modern, ultra contemporary, really stylish. This is taken from today.com, but again, these are the Modsy designers that did this. This is very refined, right? So Fraser obviously has expensive taste, and this furniture, it wouldn't come cheap. So it's not really the simplified sort of stripped down approach that Jerry might have had. This one is very much elevated. But color-wise, the walls, pretty much one color, right? I mean, you do see a bit of the frames that have a little bit of that earthy gray, kind of a warm taupey feel to them. But really, the paint color that I would just recommend to sort of replicate this look is Snowbound by Sherwin-Williams, which is another very popular off-white paint color. And what I like about it is it takes its warmth from a bit of a taupe undertone. So it's kind of a light gray with a touch of brown mixed in. So you don't get that overly creamy quality, which I don't think Fraser would really gravitate towards. And in fact, all of the warmth that we see here, again, comes from the flooring. You have little pops in some of the chairs, some of the flowers, but everything else is pretty modern, very contrasty, very contemporary. So another really good choice, a bit harder to replicate if you are on a budget. And then finally, my favorite. So this is Monica's apartment from Friends. And my wife and I, we watch a lot of Friends, right? So this is an absolutely iconic apartment, and it was also very much a sign of the times, right? It was very maximalist, you know, a lot was going on. The modern interpretation that Modsy did to it, I find wonderful, right? So you'll definitely see some common elements, you'll recognize some colors, but it is in a more streamlined, contemporary arrangement. So I found 3 colors here from this image, and I'm pretty sure you'll have an idea of which ones I picked, but really, I love this one because it has that rustic, almost bohemian quality to it, right? That is just so evocative of the original show, but translated to more modern times. So it's not too discombobulated, but still has a ton of personality. Most notably that purple door I find so amazing, right? They have a couple of different angles as well from a 2018 take on Monica and Chandler's apartment. Really interesting, actually. You can see hiding behind the kitchen is a bit of a navy blue kitchen island, which is really cool. And the different stones that they use. So the brick wall and then the kind of chunky white tile as well. And then one thing that I'm seeing a lot recently too is with these sort of loft windows is painting the window frames a darker color. So either like a wrought iron slate gray or black. That's very much a modern, contemporary, industrial sort of touch, which I really love. Of all the colors we see in the area rugs and all that, the 3 that I picked are an off-white, a green, and a purple. So the off-white is Alabaster by Sherwin-Williams, which continues to be one of my favorite off-whites to use in general, not just within Sherwin-Williams. It is warm, it's creamy, it's approachable, it is versatile too. It has that little bit of gray to tone everything down, which means it will work with all of the other colors that are incorporated in this scene that Modsy has created. As for this green color, just outlining the purple door, I went with Evergreen Fog. I think Evergreen Fog is probably a bit cooler than the one that was used here, but they're very similar, right? It's not meant to be an exact replica, but this is the color of the year for 2022. So I think this is more of an appropriate choice for modern day. It is a darker color, it's a darker mid-tone. It's a great choice when you do want that pop of color, that little bit of accent. But in this case, it is outlining the real accent color, which is that purple. So I chose Wood Violet as the purple color in this palette. And it is just so fun. And it's not a color that you would immediately think of for interior use, especially on a door, but it works perfectly for Monica and Chandler, right? So if you ever wanted to replicate these aesthetics, now you can, you know? I'd love to see the 2028 version of these rooms. That might be fun. So if you like these kind of videos, me reacting to cool stuff online, let me know down below and I'll do it more. At any rate, have a good one. See you on the next video.